August 13, 2018, began like any other summer morning in Frederick, Colorado. But by noon, the town would be gripped by a story so dark, so tragic, it would shock the nation and dominate headlines for months. Chris Watts, a seemingly devoted husband and father of two, calmly walked in front of news cameras, pleading for the safe return of his pregnant wife, Shanann, and their daughters, Bella, 4, and Celeste, 3. He looked composed. He hugged neighbors. He answered every question with chilling ease. But behind his performance, the truth had already been sealed in silence, and in concrete oil tanks out in a remote field. Shanann had returned home from a business trip around 2 a.m. Chris said they had a civil conversation before she went to sleep. By the next morning, she and the girls were gone, or so he claimed. He told police she had taken the girls and left. But neighbors' doorbell footage would soon unravel that lie. Shanann was seen entering the house, never to come out again. There was no footage of the girls leaving. No sign of a getaway. No cries for help. Just silence, and Chris, growing more nervous as investigators closed in. Chris failed his polygraph test. Investigators knew he was hiding something. But what troubled them most wasn't just the crime. It was what he refused to say. When the FBI and local detectives confronted him, he finally confessed, but only partially. He claimed he killed Shanann in a rage after she allegedly murdered their daughters. It was a story meant to save his image, even in guilt. A story that painted him as the victim. And still, he never said where the girls were. When asked directly, he hesitated, cried, and deflected. 2 days after his arrest, Chris led investigators to the Anadarko oil field where he worked. There, they found Shanann's body buried in a shallow grave. Nearby, the bodies of Bella and Celeste were hidden inside separate crude oil tanks. It was a burial site meant to erase them, to hide what he had done, to bury the truth along with the bodies. The real truth didn't come until months later, after Chris had already been convicted and sentenced to 5 life terms in prison. In a chilling prison interview, Chris finally opened up, not because he felt guilt, but because there was nothing left to protect. He admitted that he had strangled Shanann in their bed after a quiet argument. He then smothered his daughters, but not immediately. He drove with them, alive, to the oil site. Bella asked, "Is Mommy okay?" as she sat beside her sister's wrapped body. Then he ended their lives. He described their final words, their fear, and their resistance. Bella had fought back. She had bitten her tongue. She had begged. And still he did it. Even after all that, he still downplayed the horror. He claimed he didn't know why he did it, that he was in a dark place, that he felt possessed. But the truth was, Chris had been having an affair. He had fallen for another woman and believed the only way to start a new life was to destroy the one he already had. No custody battles. No messy divorce. Just disappearance. His original confession wasn't for the truth. It was a strategy. He tried to protect his image, even in the face of the unthinkable, even in front of the bodies of his children. The public was horrified. Thousands followed the case, analyzing every clip, every body cam angle, every second of the interrogation tapes. Psychologists weighed in. Some labeled Chris as a textbook narcissist. Others described him as emotionally shallow, detached from reality, and unable to comprehend the weight of his actions. What truly unnerved people wasn't just the crime. It was how normal Chris appeared. He smiled. He joked. He took selfies. He coached Little League and talked finances. There were no warning signs, or so it seemed. Despite the detailed prison confession, many believe Chris still isn't telling the whole story. Some suspect others may have known more. That Shanann's final moments weren't as quiet as Chris claimed. That his daughters may have witnessed more than he admitted. Even in guilt, Chris what remains a puzzle. A man who destroyed his own family for a fantasy, and still hides behind half-truths and emotionless explanations. The Watts family murders aren't just a story about crime. They're a terrifying reminder of what lies behind the mask of normal. A loving father turned monster. A mother and her children erased by someone they trusted most. And to this day, viewers are still asking the same question. What else is Chris Watts not telling us?